critical to continue the medical war.
It's critical to continue the medical war.
3 weeks on now, we're starting to see that the vast majority of the public here in Northamptonshire are complying. Sadly though, we have a small number of people who are persistently and consistently disobeying the law, and so that period of grace is over.
They already know what you're looking at on the internet, right? They already know where your phone is moving. Now they know what your heart rate is, your pulse is.
So we will not at this stage be setting up roadblocks. We will not at this stage be starting to marshal supermarkets and checking the items in baskets and trolleys to see whether it's a legitimate, necessary item.
When we see emergency measures passed, particularly today, they tend to be sticky. The emergency tends to be expanded.
But again, be under no illusion. If people do not heed the warnings and the pleas that I'm making today, we will start to do that.
Then the authorities become comfortable. They start to like it.
But again, be under no illusion.
Then the authorities become comfortable. They start to like it.
If people do not heed the warnings and the pleas that I'm making today, we will start to do that.
Whenever there is a crisis, rationality exits the room. And you have a policy that is being driven by a panic in the pursuit of benefits that at the time are theoretical. They said these things would work. They said they were necessary. They said they would be beneficial. But the threat is so great that this is the only way that we can really counter them. 5 years later, the coronavirus is gone. This data is still available to them. They start looking for new things.
We are looking forward to phase one and announcing plans for an economic resurgence. We're going to have a resurgence at a time when millions of American workers and families are struggling with the financial consequences of the virus. It's critical to continue the medical war. It's critical to continue the medical war. Critical to continue the medical war while reopening the economy in a safe and responsible fashion.
Are you concerned about this virus? I was in the beginning until I've done my research and found out the realities and the media's overreach on it, and that it's not as serious as they made it out to be, and that's why I am here. I feel that they are overreaching, overreacting, and crushing our small businesses, crushing our economy.
During this time, Americans must maintain strict vigilance. We continue to be encouraged that many of the areas hardest hit by the virus appear to have turned the corner. For example, recent deaths are down very, very substantially. You can compare that with their peak not so long ago.
Five years later, the coronavirus is gone. This data is still available to them. They start looking for new things.
And now, as officials in the U.S. begin to make plans for a return to public life, technology is being implemented in strange, startling new ways. In New Jersey, Connecticut, and other major hotspots in the U.S., local officials have announced they will be rolling out temperature sensing drones that will send audio messages reminding people to be cautious and follow social distancing guidelines. The company has recently distributed similar technology to authorities in Australia for their pandemic response. What these cameras can do is actually detect fever, which is very different than detecting just temperature. They can detect sneezing, they can detect your heart rate, your respiratory rate, but they can also detect social distancing. That all of the data is anonymized. He says you'll be seeing this very soon, he said. Privacy activists are concerned that this could open the door for a surveillance state that doesn't go away.
What we have is a transition from government that's looking at us from the outside in mass surveillance.
You've said that the ultimate goal is total population control. In a democracy, that is really scary business.
It's actually a totalitarian process that's been used down through history. I mean, that's what totalitarian dictators, states, that's what they want to do. They want to know everything about the population so they can control it. That was the idea.
Surveillance tools used during the pandemic should be scientifically justified, communicated transparently to the public, limited in their scope and duration, and should always require informed consent.
Eventually, they're going to hit the bullseye.
We have joined the police patrol in the townships. Wherever we go, everyone runs away because they know they shouldn't be on the streets and they're afraid. The officers on duty seem anxious. The enforcement of the lockdown is anything but systematic. It appears random.
We're supposed to be in his house. This is a lockdown, and you don't have any reason to be outside.
That's why I was going to my brother to take a food.
The man says that during the arrest he was kicked and beaten by the police behind the house. A few blocks away we meet a young woman who doesn't want to show her face. She's afraid she'll be recognized. But she does want to show what the police did to her just for being on the street. She says several officers stormed into her house and attacked her with sticks and whips, and all this in front of her daughter.
It's actually traumatizing because I've never been beaten up like that.
If they don't listen, then unfortunately those things happen. I'm not saying it's right. And in some communities, that's all the members of the public understand. And in some communities, that's all the members of the public understand.
Huge sign that is out in the Capitol lawn. It says security without liberty is called prison. I see you're wearing a mask, so you appear to have some level of concern.
Well, I have concern. I have just common courtesy for people. And I do have concern and respect for everybody and respect our rights and our freedoms.
And what people are missing, that I think people who are looking at this from a longer span are catching.
All right, that's a little bit of the sentiment we're hearing here. A lot
the
of these
emergency
folks...
tends to be expanded. Then the authorities become comfortable. They start to like it. And the original emergency passes. Coronavirus is gone. It's no longer a big thing. They find new applications, new uses for this new power they gained. And they went, well, maybe we don't need to give this up. Maybe we can pass a new law that makes this a permanent authority. And we've seen this happening.
It's something that it provides the opportunity to monitor everybody in the country, in fact, most everybody in the world, in near real time throughout the day. And that's really a 1984 on steroids, really.
In 2 years, this problem will be gone. But the consequences of the decision that we make now are permanent.
There's been another miracle.
Thank you.
Who is this mystery boy? And how is he connected to this unusual event that happened here at Blessed Hope earlier today?
That's definitely him.
Those are just a few of the many questions that have yet to be answered.
Destroy the kid. We can't run the risk of this story making national headlines.
I'm getting pressure from above not to become your local Christian news channel. If we're not careful, we might wind up encouraging people to go to church, and that would be bad. Real bad.
God listens to you, does he not?
Actually, it's the opposite. I listen to him.
You're special. God gave you a gift.